Hey everyone, Mark Hart here, and welcome to the next session for the SOFA Summit, where we're going to take a deep dive into one of our single family turnkey rental properties. Also, so you can learn a little bit more about the neighborhood and the area that it's located in. So, first things first, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive into a property in the northern Mississippi market, which we also call DeSoto County. So, for a lot of you that have never looked at a map before, Memphis is located in the southwest corner of the state of Tennessee, right at the border of Arkansas to the west and Mississippi to the south. So, we don't do investing in Arkansas, but we absolutely love northern Mississippi or this DeSoto County area for a lot of reasons. First reason that we love the area is just overall demand from renters. So we have actually a waiting list of tenants that are already approved, have deposits ready to go. They're just waiting for available properties in this part of town. So, wow, that is absolutely incredible to see. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one is just the overall jobs and job creation in the area. So, Memphis as a whole is the number one fastest growing industrial market in the entire United States of America. So, we're absolutely thrilled about that. And what you want to focus on is, well, where within the city is that growth actually happening? And that's actually the majority of it is happening right over the border in this northern Mississippi, DeSoto County area. So when you go down there, a lot of jobs being created, everything feels really new. So that's why we really love this part of town, because it just got incorporated in the latter half of the 20th century. So it was one of the fastest growing counties in the entire United States of America, and it was the fastest growing county in all of Mississippi. So the tenants also really like it. Besides the jobs, they love the public school systems there. You can have schools that are a 4 out of 10 all the way up to 9 out of 10, just depending on where you want to go and how much rent you want to offer. Some other things that are great from an investor standpoint in Mississippi is that it's even more landlord friendly than the state of Tennessee. So what that just means is that the eviction process is a little bit quicker. Then from the negative side, the taxes are going to be a slightly bit higher over here in Mississippi, and that's mainly to pay for the public school systems. So it's normally only 10 to 20 basis points higher. It's not double or triple by any means necessary. So definitely worth it. There's also income tax in the state of Mississippi, but the tax write-offs, if you do your taxes properly, should allow you to not pay any taxes on the cash flow that you receive. So here, looking at the map, you'll see that we have Memphis downtown. If you go out over to this Berkeley area, that's where our office is located. So we want to make sure that we're within roughly 30-minute drive of our office, so we can get to the properties quickly, for maintenance calls. The tenants can get in quickly. And all the way down here on the south side of town is going to be the Memphis International Airport. So this is the busiest air cargo hub airport in the Western Hemisphere and the second busiest in the world. So second to Hong Kong, China. So this here is where a third of all jobs are located in the Memphis market, because once again, Memphis is the distribution center for North America. So you'll see all of these white rectangles. Well, that's just distribution centers, warehouses for all the supply chains of our major corporations. So of course, you want to be close to major employers. And that's why we go even farther across the border there's multiple towns here. There's one that's called South Haven. That's a beautiful A-class neighborhood. We absolutely love investing there. And then just to the west is going to be Horn Lake, Mississippi. And that's where the subject property is that we're going over today. This part of town, we've been investing here for many, many years now. Our investment properties here have done very well. And that's why we want to continue to invest here. So if we now go over into our Google Drive, this is what we call our due diligence vault. Every single one of our properties is going to have this marketing material for you to review so you can really understand the ins and outs and get a full picture of the investment property. You know, we believe in transparency and just showing everything to you on the front end. So at the very top here, all these folders are going to be photos. We're going to have before photos, during photos, and a professional photo once the renovation's completed. You're also going to have a professional video giving you a walkthrough of the property. And we just started adding some drone footage so you can see the roof. So we got that feedback from you guys. We appreciate it. Then down here are going to be some attached PDFs. These PDFs are going to be, you'll always see this under construction sign, because this is what the property looks like before or the day we bought it. So we want to let folks know this is not the finished product. This property is getting that full turnkey renovation. Next will be the scope of work, then the pro forma. Down here in Mississippi, we've got great schools, so we took a snapshot of that. And then some more information about our company and the detailed step-by-step process. So what I always recommend you guys look at first is going to be the pro forma. Reason I recommend checking out the pro forma first is it has the majority of the information that you really want as an investor. So first, the address, the location, Horn Lake, Mississippi, the details of the home. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. For us in this area, the average properties that we're going to be seeing are going to be normally 3-bedroom properties. So if you can get that 4th bedroom, that'll definitely help increase the rentability of the property. Then we'll have properties, everything from a 1-bathroom all the way up to a 2-bathroom property. So that's just going to increase the rent and increase the value of the home subsequently. Then the square footage, 1,237. It was built in 2000. That's a little bit of an outlier for us in a good way. Of course, the best properties and the most ideal properties are brand new ones. The average that we're seeing here are going to be in the 60s and the 70s. So if you can get anything newer, that's always a bonus. Then parking, C1, that stands for a 1-car carport. You'll also see a D for a driveway and a G for a garage. So here in the Memphis area, we're in the Mid-South, so it's warm. We don't get feet of snow. So you can have and leave your car outside and you'll be fine in the morning when you start it. So that actually is the norm. Having any covered parking or a garage, it always helps, but that's just going to, once again, increase the cost and increase the rent as well. So here, what's really great to see is the neighborhood rating. This is what we believe the neighborhood rating is. We rate our neighborhoods A, B, and C based off the percentage of homeowners to renters in that neighborhood. So the A-class neighborhood is 90% or more homeowners and the rest renters. Then the C-class neighborhood is going to be polar opposite. Almost all renters and just a few homeowners. And then the B as in boy class neighborhood is going to be about the average for Memphis, which is about 50% homeowners and 50% renters. Now, this being in a B plus neighborhood means the majority of your neighbors are going to be homeowners. We also have D as in dog class neighborhoods. However, we don't provide turnkey rental properties in those neighborhoods because it's too difficult to get a long-term quality tenant that takes care of the home and pays rent consistently for your consistent cash flow. All right, so the sales price here, $128,900. The way we figure out that sales price is using a comparative market analysis, the same strategy that appraisers do. So that's how we set our homes. The goal is for the properties to appraise. We ran all the numbers, and actually on average, our appraisals that have come back came in overvalued $2,300. So that means you get some equity day one, which is just incredible and is ultimately the goal of buying all rental properties. So the really important parts of this pro forma are the top right, where you have all the details of the house, the target rent here of $1,095. Then I like to quickly jump down to the net cash flow. It's always good to see, but that number isn't, don't just buy a property because it has a low cash flow or a high cash flow. What you really want to look at is what was your initial cash invested and what is your annual net cash flow as a percentage. When you divide the two, that's going to get you your cash on cash return. And in this instance, that's a 10.5%. So once again, I have to put the disclaimer out there that this is just a projection. So none of these returns are guaranteed. They are not guaranteed. So, these are all just assumptions based off of how our properties have been performing in the past. So this is what you should expect to see on your rental property here. Next thing they like to look at is the property appreciation. We put a 2.5% appreciation on these homes to be very conservative. The average appreciation over the last 30 years is 2.49%. So that's why we use the 2.5 number. But then over the last 10 years, the area has been doing better and it's moved to 3%. And then since 2016, it's been 5%. So that's what a huge testament to the city itself. We still just want to be really conservative on these projections here. So that's why we use the 2.5% metric. One thing to note, though, is there's a difference between a return on investment from appreciation and the actual appreciation amount, assuming you get a mortgage and you take a loan. So if you put 20% down, and let's say this house increased in value 2.5%, well, that's $3,223 worth of equity that you now have in the deal. When you divide that by your initial cash invested, so what did you have to spend to buy the property? 20% down plus closing costs. When you divide that, $3,223 by the money you spent to get the investment, that's going to be your return on investment of appreciation. And just the conservative number that Memphis has been growing at for 30 years, it's at 11.1%. So I think that's just really fascinating, is that from a conservative 30-year standpoint, these properties appreciate at over 11%, which is already better than the stock market if you're putting it in an index fund on the S&P 500. So that's great to see. Then also your mortgage principal reduction. Every time the tenant pays rent, that goes to pay your mortgage, and that's going to get you some equity every single month. It's going to start out small, 6.3%, and that, if you look at the amortization schedule, that'll actually be increasing every single year. If you take it out and you look at the average annual return on investment from mortgage principal reduction, it's just over 13% year over year. So once again, just by having a renter in place, paying down your mortgage, and by being in a market that has the appreciation of 2.5%, you add those two together, and we're talking over 20% return on investment. And that's actual, data. Then finally is your tax savings return on investment. And we highly recommend you reach out to your own CPA to figure out how these tax benefits are going to help you. But there's some incredible things called depreciation. You get to write off all the property expenses here over on the left-hand side. And you can even do cost segregation studies if you want. So if you add all of those up together, that's going to give you a total return on investment of 31.3%. That's absolutely incredible. And that's the whole reason why we invest in real estate. So we also recommend, when you do look at pro formas, that you always use the same pro forma and to compare different properties, especially in different markets. Because if you look at different pro formas, the numbers could get skewed. Someone else can use a pro forma and put the same property on here and change the percentage of the return on investment based on the assumptions that are in here, like the appreciation, the vacancy, and the maintenance. The one thing about all of our pro formas is that they include all of our property management fees. They include vacancy reserves, maintenance reserves, and they include closing costs when you're calculating your cash on cash return. So that is a full, transparent pro forma. And getting over a 30% ROI projected is absolutely incredible. So now what I like to do is take a look at the scope of work, right? What is actually going to be done to these houses? So it's our goal to make sure that you don't have any deferred maintenance on these properties when you buy them. Make sure your CapEx is zero or as close to zero as possible. So now I recommend looking at the scope of work. So here's going to be a photo, once again, of what the property looked like when we bought it. Then what we want to focus on are the major items, the roof, the mechanicals, the floors, because those items are going to make up the majority of the cost of a renovation, and they're also the easiest to hide and to leave out. Uh, what we see is a lot of other folks will have a 20-year-old roof and they'll just let that slide, right? Well, we want to make sure that those items can be new or like new every single time. So here we have the roof, new. So what new means is that we are personally performing that renovation, as we speak on the property. Um, Sometimes they'll say approximately 5 years old. So if we do buy a house that has a 5-year-old roof, well, we're going to keep it because it's at the beginning of its lifespan, but we will let you know on the front end what that finished product is going to be. Some really important things in the overall philosophy and the reason why we want this all to say new, or like new is because we want you to be able to wrap the majority of that cost, the cost of the roof, the HVAC, the floors of that renovation into the mortgage. What we mean by that is you really only get one chance to pay 20% down on the property and finance the other 80% of the asset. So that means the tenant pays rent, the rent covers the mortgage, and the mortgage covers that 80%. So that is one of the best ways to get the longest and the best return on investments. And the opposite way of looking at that is going to be, well, you could buy a house with a 20-year, 25-year-old roof on it. You may have a few extra years left and you may get a $5,000, $10,000 discount on the property. But when that roof goes out, you're going to have to pay 100% of that value in cash to put on a brand new roof. And so the math doesn't work as well. And that's why we decided to put on, and we want to make these items be as new as possible. And the tenants absolutely love it. When they look at our properties, they just want to make sure that it's going to be clean and safe and functioning, right? When it rains, is the roof going to leak? In the summer, is the AC going to work? And when they see it has a new roof and a new HVAC and a new water heater, well, that gives you the best chance to get a quality tenant that has the best chance to stay, because the longer they stay, the better cash flow you're going to get. So that's just how we look at these types of investments and the why behind the renovations that we do. On average, we're doing about a $30,000 renovation as well to these properties, and that's our cost. That is using a lot of in-house crew members and buying our materials in bulk at a discounted price. So that same $30,000 renovation would probably cost $35,000 or more if you were just a hire general contractor, off of Craigslist or whatnot, that wasn't able to get that economy of scale. Because when we buy roofs, we buy hundreds at a time. When we buy HVACs, we have them shipped and stored in our warehouse in the back, 5,000 square feet, dozens at a time. So it's nice to get that volume discount. So next, we're going to dive into the flooring. We put hard surface. There's a few times where there will be carpet in the property, and that's really only when it's on the second story, because you can't really put hard surface flooring on the second floor because it's really loud. But on the main floor, expect hard surface, whether that's luxury vinyl plank or tile. Now we're going to spend a little bit more by putting the LVP floors in the bedrooms and in the common areas, but it's going to be a better product for you. And since we buy all of our materials in bulk at a discounted price, we can put in higher quality materials. A lot of our other folks will put in carpet, which is fine, but you're going to have to replace that carpet between every turnover. It's just the way things are. But with the LVP floors, well, you can reuse that through multiple turns, and you can pop up one little shingle and replace a brand new section of that floor. Another example of that is going to be the roofs. We put on higher quality material, 30-year architectural shingle roofs. These types of shingles are going to lay on top of each other as opposed to a 20-year 3-tab roof, which is going to be a little bit less expensive that you may also see. But once again, we want to put on that higher quality maintenance preventer for you so you can wrap those costs in on the mortgage in the beginning and get the highest possible cash flow for years to come. All right, next is going to be the appliances. This is definitely going to be a weird one for you guys because the tenants are going to bring their own appliances. That's correct. You heard me right. The tenants will bring their own appliances. We will go above and beyond and put a Vent-A-Hood, so the little fan at the top of the stove for safety. And then we'll also put a dishwasher in the property. But every other appliance, the tenants are going to bring on their own. And I mean refrigerator, stove, washer and dryer. It's incredible because those are the items that get used daily and most frequently, and they also break the most. So you don't have to worry about getting a maintenance call because the ice machine broke. That would just be awful. So that's going to be up to the individual tenant to pay for on their own. So big benefit there. There are times when we will add appliances. That's like to our A-class new construction homes. And then there are also times when some of our smaller houses don't have space for a dishwasher. So there are a few caveats to that as well. All right. So then we are also going to be doing all the detailed cosmetic items to the house as well. We just don't put that on this pro forma here because we want to just focus on the major items that most people try to hide, because the cosmetics, those are a given. So every house is going to be newly painted inside and out. We're going to repair all the rotten wood. We're going to perform basic landscaping. We're going to upgrade the plumbing and electrical fixtures. So it's going to get the works. And if you do want a detailed line-by-line item scope of work on the house that you're interested in acquiring, just let me know. We're happy to share that with you. All right. So next, with this location in that northern Mississippi, DeSoto County, once again, this is what we love about the area is the public schools are incredible. You can get a house for $130,000 that has a public school rating as a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. That's absolutely amazing. And that's one of the main reasons why we have a waiting list for renters in this submarket. So incredible place to own rentals. All right. So then finally, it's great to look at the photos. So we love looking at the pre-renovation photos so you can see what the property looks like when we bought it. Some houses, they look pretty decent when we buy them. Other houses, they're absolutely destroyed down to the studs and even burned down. So this property here, what you can see, perfect example of the roof. So since these shingles sit flat, that's how you know it's a 3-tab roof. And then you can see the coloring. I can zoom in a little bit here for you. You can see how there's a discoloration on the roof, and that's because they did a roof repair or a roof patch. Looks like it must have been leaking. So many signs that this is a very old roof, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to put in a brand new 30-year architectural shingle roof. All right, so here's some more photos that you'll be able to see. We try to get as detailed as possible. You can see the backyard has some major overgrowth. Needs some work to the fence. Here's some pictures of the water heater, which is too old. That's got to be brand new. You'll have pictures of the bathroom, of the different rooms. So nice to just quickly glance. It's really not in too bad a shape at all. This previous homeowner took great shape and great pride in their property here. We'll show you some before photos that are just incredible. So that was the pre-renovation photos. So we take that, and what I recommend looking at is going to be the professional photos. So on every house, we're going to hire a third-party professional to take photos of the property so you can see the finished work and the quality of what we do. We're also going to film a video, little walkthrough, and that'll have the drone footage as well. So here's a picture of the exterior. We use the same materials every single house so we can buy them in bulk. So the houses will start to look the same. We love this gray exterior with the white trim and the architectural shingle roof here. Beautiful photo of the bathroom. You'll see most notably that we'll put in Formica countertops. So they're not granite. You don't need granite here. It's not the norm, just that Formica. It will last through multiple turns. Then the tile here, This looks to be the original tile, which is great. There's no reason to replace this. You don't need to have the high trendy white tile brand new here in Memphis, because our residents, our renters, they just want clean, safe, and functioning. That's really all they're looking for. And when they look at this house here compared to some of the other properties on the market, they just absolutely love it. And that's why they're renting our properties before the construction is even done. So here's a beautiful example of the LVP floors, brand new furnace, and so on. Nice picture of the kitchen, nice, clean, safe, and so on and so forth. All right, so that's everything that you're gonna see from your computer, right, inside of our due diligence vault. But now for the Sofa Summit, what we want for you is to actually take this image, everything that we just went over, and now we're gonna go actually to the property itself. So we've got Sean and our supervisor that did the construction of the property to do a little walkthrough. So you can take these photos here, look at all this due diligence that we just did together, and then now you can actually see even more detailed about the neighborhood, the street, and the renovation quality. So Sean, Derek, off to you.
Hey everyone, Sean Taggy here, and we are here live at one of our properties here in Horn Lake, Mississippi. It is just about 10 minutes south of the Tennessee-Mississippi state line. It's 3285 Mayfair, and we are here with our one and only Maine Superintendent, Derek Phillips. Derek, how you doing today, man?
Doing well. Glad to be here, Sean.
Awesome.
I'm always excited when Sean asks me to be a part of anything that has to do with marketing, and I'm really always excited because this is my passion. This is what I do, and turning these crappy old houses into beautiful rentals is what I do best, and so thanks for having me here.
Dude, man, yeah, we're real excited. Yeah, so Derek, you've been with us at Reedy for how long?
Oh, going on 5 years now.
Yeah, and tell us how you kind of started out and all that.
Well, I came to Reedy as a punch-out man. I was going into houses doing quality control. Jim saw me working for a contractor that worked for him directly, and I actually became kind of friendly with Jim, and we talked sports on the job site, and I ended up giving him a call a few years down the road, and he hired me on the spot to come and be a punch-out man, and he knew I had a great eye for detail, which makes me good at this and putting out a quality product. So
Yes,
I was coming in and just like putting the final touches on properties, making sure all the lights work, the towel bars are tight, and all the doorknobs and work and doors close, just things like that. And then I was promoted from within. So
yeah, love it, man. And just for those punch out, it's like the last little details, the last 5%. That's usually like the hardest part that takes so long, is that last 5% of the renovation.
Absolutely, Sean, and it's the most important part because those are the last eyes on the property. So they're making sure every single little detail is going to be up to par as far as the home inspection comes in. We want as few items on there as possible, and the punch out man is the most important part of that.
Love it. Yeah, so you did that as a punch out for about 3 years, and then you've been on a renovation supervisor for about 2 years now with us?
A little over 2 years, yeah.
So what do you do in that role now?
Well, my job now basically is I get an email and it says, here's your budget, go to the property, get it started, get the ball rolling, and we can walk through that process as far as what that looks like if you want to, however you want to do it.
Sure, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we have a budget. It's 3 pages long. It just has details on all the things that we need done, interior, exterior, plumbing, just all those things that we come up with when we buy the property, knowing beforehand what we're going to renovate. And it's just up to our turnkey standards. So yeah, and you're managing all the crews and everything like that. So yeah, we're going to go into this property and check out kind of what do most of our properties look like, what kind of our renovation standard is. So first, why don't you just go over the exterior a little bit? What do we typically do?
Real
on our
quick,
properties?
the first thing I'm doing when I lay eyes on the property is looking at the curb appeal. The first thing we want to do is get the thing on the internet and get talk about the property, get leasing going
for the renters and for the investors.
Yeah, a lot of times we've got deposits put down on these properties even before I've started any work on it. So these things rent themselves because we know, the people know about the quality of product we put out. So the first thing I'm doing is cleaning up the front, getting some curb appeal going, getting all the rotten wood done. I put the roof on, I get all the brush cleaned up off the front. This house in particular had a mountain of trash out front, so I had a cleanup crew come to that and get all the brush cleaned up in the backyard. The backyard was a big mess. As you can see, the 30-year architectural shingles, our brand new roof is on there. It looks beautiful. This house had a lot of rotten wood, so we got all the rotten wood repaired, replaced, and painted, and pressure washed, everything cleaned up real nice. So get that those marketing pictures out there as soon as possible.
Right, yeah, and we usually just have, we'll paint the trim, and like Derek mentioned, if there's any wood, replace, and then we have those black shutters. I mean, most tenants and people like us, when I'm driving, I can be like, oh yeah, we renovated that one. We can tell what our house looks like. Number one, it's the best looking house on the street.
For sure.
I mean, hands down most of the time there. And then also it's just clean, we keep it simple. We're not over renovating it, we're renovating to the standard that the tenants will like. So yeah, that's that. So let's go on in, let's walk inside and check it out.
So a lot of times, the first thing we want to do is get the house secured. So these brand new security doors go on with our smart lock system.
That's nice. So this living rooms, yeah.
This property in particular came with these tile floors, which is nice, and it saves us money, and it saves the investor money. And so what we really did was come in first and fix a lot of the Ristex on the ceilings. We had some sheetrock repairs going on. We updated all the plugs and switches. Everything in here is brand new as far as plugs and switches goes. This house had some trash in it, so we got it cleaned up really quickly. Got the paint done. If you want to come on this way, this room here is a bonus room, and it had a bunch of old carpet in it. We pulled the carpet out, and it had some pretty nice stained concrete floors in there, so we went ahead and left those.
Yeah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So why do we not, flooring wise, what flooring do we typically put in our houses?
Typically we put down luxury vinyl plank, and this stuff is durable. I mean, a lot of times you'll have renters come in and tear up your carpets or tear up your hardwoods, put irreversible scratches in those hardwood floors. With this luxury vinyl plank, it's almost unbeatable. You can't tear it up. It's hard to tear it or rip it, and it's durable to water and all kinds of pets or whatever it may be. So we love it, and it lasts forever.
Yeah, so usually luxury vinyl plank or tile or concrete if concrete's there, and that stuff just keep it indestructible. So flooring's real important. That can be a big deal, and these last several turnovers of tenants because of that hard surface.
Yeah, absolutely. It saves a ton of money for everybody.
So let's check out this kitchen and tell us typically what do we do for our kitchens?
Yeah, typically now, again, this house was in pretty good shape when we came in. We left the countertops. There's no scratches or scuffs or marks. Usually if there's any damage at all, we're gonna go ahead and replace them. This is a brand new sink and faucet. We do that pretty much on every house just because it saves a lot of trouble with tenants, having maintenance issues. It's a small expense to save a lot of trouble down the road. So we got a brand new dishwasher. We put a brand new dishwasher in every house. This is a new vent hood as well. These go in every house as well. The cabinets are in really great shape. They were dirty, so we cleaned them up. There was some grease on them, and they were just pretty nasty, but a little elbow grease goes a long way. So they look great, and this house is ready.
So in summary, kitchens, we check the countertops. If they need to be replaced, we will. We do most of the time. Cabinets, if they're in good shape, we'll clean them. If they're in okay shape, we'll actually sand them down and paint them, and that's kind of cool too. We get some neutral colors in there. And then if they're really bad, we look for rotten wood and other things like that. We try to replace them. If not, we'll replace them completely. Then also we skip the refrigerator and a stove and all of that because the tenants, that's their job to have. And as a landlord, if a fridge goes out 2 years later, it'd be on you if you provided it. But if it's the tenant's fridge, it's on them.
Exactly.
So that's why we skip out on that. In other markets, I was like, that's kind of weird. But in this market, that's what the market rent supports. So
Makes perfect sense.
Yep. All right.
So here we have the laundry room. A lot of times these washer boxes are old, outdated, and
leaky, and
and these are a big problem for tenants too. We get a lot of maintenance issues and callbacks on these. So a lot of times we replace these. So this one in particular is brand new. So we cut this wall open and replaced all of the drain and water lines in this system and put a brand new washer box in there, and along with the dryer vent. So this laundry room is, you know, brand new. Everything's up to code and ready to roll, and we're not going to have any maintenance issues whatsoever in this laundry room.
So what I love there is that Derek's always mentioning like this causes future issues. It's because he actually takes the tenant calls the first 90 days to a year. When a tenant moves in, he's actually personally handling those calls, so he's the one who hears
That's right.
them. And the reason why we did that strategically is because then he's more accountable on the back end, and then also on the front end he can think, oh well, I'm sick of hearing these tenant calls on this or the dryer vent that sometimes is plugged up because all this, you know, lint.
Absolutely.
So he sees those issues, and we're actually trying to proactively just be like, hey, how many little bit of tenant issues can I have for this month?
And I love being held accountable
Right.
for all of this stuff. All it does is make me a better superintendent. It makes me more diligent on the front end, and it saves everybody money. So
Right.
I'm happy to take the maintenance calls. Like I said, I learn a lot. And
Yeah, there's several things we've actually learned from that, and now we're like, you know, including it more into our budget and our rental on the front end, just because we're trying to save the headaches on the long run.
Absolutely.
It also makes the tenants happier because they'll stay in longer because they have less issues. That first 30 days is very important also for the tenants to be like, oh, these people are on top of it. They care about it. Then they're more forgiving on us years down the road when there's maintenance requests. And
First impressions are
it's
everything.
a big one, yeah. So we work on that a lot. All right, let's keep on going through here.
So in this house, we do have a brand new heating and air system. As you can see, here's the brand new thermostat, and we like to leave the instruction manual for the tenant so they don't have any issues. Also, we don't put the auto-programmable thermostats in there. This is real basic, simple digital thermostat. It's almost dummy-proof, if you will. So, because I used to get callbacks on those programmable thermostats. Like, I can't figure out my thermostat. Well, sometimes I can't figure it out, so we simplify the whole thing, put a nice easy digital thermostat in, and it saves the whole issue.
That's great. So let's check out these baths.
Again, we do a hardware package too. If you look around, as you notice, all of the doorknobs and door stops and all of these things are brand new brushed nickel. It's one of those things that just saves a lot of trouble because these things fall apart easily, especially if they're old and outdated. So it's a small expense to pay to avoid trouble on the back end. And as you can see, like we put towel rings in as well. All the faucets we replace 9 times out of 10. So this all looks really great. This is a brand new toilet we put in. We did paint this vanity. This vanity was pretty nasty, so we went and put a coat of paint on it, make it look a little nicer.
What do we generally do in bathrooms?
Generally, we're always going to run snakes through all the drains. We want to make sure that there's no clogs on the front end, because again, it's all about saving trouble with the tenants for me. And we make sure all the toilets the insides of the toilets are working well, the flappers, and there's a lot of checks we do just to make sure things are operating properly. A lot of times we replace the P-traps under the vanities. Like I said, we almost always replace the vanity sinks.
Yep.
And
then if needed, we leave the tile or not. This one was actually in good shape, so
this was a bread and butter house. This one was really easy. It made my job easy. Rich, if you just take a look around here, we put GFCIs in most of our properties too. So this is all brand new electrical stuff here.
That's nice, yeah. Okay. Sure, let's talk about HVAC.
Well, that's a brand new furnace. I think if it's 10 years or older, we replace it. It's pretty simple. A lot of times these systems will last a long time, but for the turnkey properties in particular, we want the investor to have all the mechanicals and hard floorings put in there up front and know they don't have to worry about that expense later down the road. Yep. So this is something we do 9 times out of 10 on all the turnkey properties.
Right, if it's a few years old, of course, we'll just fix it up, tweak it, do a whole check on it, but most of the time those things are nice. So most people like looking at a picture like, oh, well, this was an easy rental, man. These guys aren't spending that much, but we spend quite a bit because your HVAC, your roof, and also your water heater. Those things just add up. Those are your biggest ticket items actually on your renovation.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are thinking, oh, these guys are just slapping some paint on. No, we're actually going deep into the big mechanicals,
Yeah.
plumbing, electrical.
We want to make a turnkey property that lasts.
Right.
You know?
Yep. Okay, let's check out these bedrooms.
So this is going to be the master bedroom. It actually has 2 sets of closets. It has his and her closets here. As you can see, it's pretty nice. So yeah, this is a good example of the luxury vinyl plank we were talking about in the living room.
Yeah.
This is brand new luxury vinyl plank, and it's put in all the bedrooms here. I think they had carpet originally, so we tore out the carpet and put in the luxury vinyl plank. As you can see, it's beautiful.
I mean,
and like I said, it lasts forever.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this in actually like nicer, newer build homes. They'll put just kind of a little better quality in this, so it looks a little more like hardwood. But I mean, we're actually debating on my personal house, like hardwood or really high-end luxury vinyl plank, because my kids are gonna scratch up those hardwood floors. And like my kids are like 4 and 1, you know, and 2. And so I actually like I'm almost preferring like luxury vinyl.
It's actually smart to put it in. I don't think your kids could tear this up if they had, I don't know, a weed whacker going across.
And if they do, it's just one little piece. They need
Right,
to
that's the beautiful part about luxury vinyl plank. If a piece gets damaged, it's really easy to pull up one plank and replace that one plank. If you have a tongue and groove type flooring put in, you're pulling up the whole room to replace one little damaged piece.
Yeah.
So it just saves a ton of money no matter what.
So bedrooms, and as Derek mentioned, these plugs and switches, we have some stainless steel nickel package. You know, those are things that just help make it look a little bit better and fresher. So there's another bath.
Yeah, that's the master bath there. So
yep. Let's just quickly breeze through these 2 rooms and give our summary. Oh, yeah, another thing, blinds.
yeah,
Yep.
part of our hardware package, it includes mini blinds, doorknobs, door stops, door hinges, any knobs or vent covers usually get replaced, shower rods, towel rings, towel bars, smoke detectors, all the little bits and pieces are part of this hardware package. And it really just brings a lot of, it just makes the whole property look more up to date and modern.
Right, love it. Okay, so there's a second bed. You can just breeze on through this third bed and we'll be out in the back in a bit. Alright, so let's check out the backyard and then that'll conclude where we're at.
So this yard was a jungle. I think we'll show some pre-renovation pictures and it'll show you exactly what we're talking about. This, you couldn't even see this shed for one thing. It was completely surrounded in brush. This property line was covered with brush and shrubbery. They actually had a old Jungle Gym swing set sitting here.
It was like about to fall over.
Yeah, it was falling over. It went to pieces. The gate was off of the hinges and had fallen down. So we just did we just updated it.
Replaced the board.
Yeah, we replaced
Structural.
the structural part of it, put a new latch on it, and now it works perfectly. And so now you got a nice fenced-in backyard. Here's the brand new condenser here, and people love a nice, huge covered patio. This thing, like I said, these things rent themselves. This house was rented maybe a week into the renovations.
Right.
We had a deposit on the house, so.
So yeah, backyards typically we're just making it look clean. You know, we're not. This isn't the Taj Mahal or anything per se, but you know, we just keep it clean, keep it safe, looking for those major issues, fence damages. I love seeing those nice shingles, man, from the back. You know, it's nice seeing a brand new roof, some great shingles, HVACs. Oh, we're also checking gutters and leakage and drainage. You know, it does rain quite a bit in Memphis, so we're always checking where the water's going and things like that.
We had some gutter issues here, and we replaced all the downspouts, and we had some stuff falling down, so we tacked some stuff up. This is actually new siding right here. This whole fascia has been replaced. It's brand new.
Rotten and stuff.
Anything rotten, we're going to replace. You know, anything water damage, we're going to replace.
Yeah, so that pretty much concludes our renovation walkthrough on this one. We will be snapping through, there'll be before pictures, so you can kind of see what we did to the property. But you know, this is our pretty standard renovation on our properties, what it will look like, you know, as needed per the property and per our discretion. So yeah, we take some pride, and that's one thing I really love about Derek and our team, and us, as you notice about us, is that Derek really takes ownership of what he does. He's always looking to improve. We track all of his metrics and numbers, and he's always trying to beat himself and beat we actually have three supervisors, so he's looking to beat him out and all that. So I love him, man.
Thank you. I appreciate being here again. Like I said, I love being held to a standard. I love to push myself to the next level and just see how much better I can get on every single house. So I love it.
All right, guys, thanks for checking us out on this deep dive on this renovation on this property. Till next time.